Hi guys, coming to you from my little corner of the world. I wanted to talk about gratitude today and expressing gratitude for the little things. You've heard from previous videos that I've been through some tumultuous things, such as life. But in my journey, I have documented certain things, and I just kind of wanted to share those, get away from the spiritual whistleblowing, if you will, and just take a moment to appreciate my wins, and also kind of explain how some of the things I've been through, I've been told a lot, there's help. You can get help. There are services and programs, etc., which I did. I seeked those out in my moment of, running away, being like a refugee, if you will, in my family and I's moment of running away and trying to find a new beginning. I did seek out services and help. I was met with, a proverbial brick wall in most cases, not at any fault of theirs, but also because I had two dogs. So if you're homeless and you're looking for shelter, even as a single mother or a single parent with a young child, there are services. There's usually a wait list. But when you have dogs, that's a whole nother element that is not usually acceptable. But if you know, dogs are your family too, They're my fur babies. So I attempted that. We actually stayed in a shelter for one night. It was the first shelter we were accepted into because, like I said, I'm a single mother with a young child, and the dogs, they stayed in the car. I left the car running all night long so that they could have air conditioning while we stayed in a room with two sets of bunk beds. It was me and my daughter in one bunk bed, and then a very sweet girl and her daughter in the other bunk bed. And of course, my daughter and her daughter, they were fast friends, because children do that. it's endearing. And our roommate's daughter, she's 4 or 5 years younger than my daughter, but they hit it off famously, of course, as children do. And we were there, and they also they pitched online or through 211 where you can call and get assistance or whatever, find out where services are available for homelessness, for hunger, food banks, whatnot. They pitched that they did accept animals through a voucher, which I did whatever I needed to do to get the voucher. They did not. They spoke to the vet or the animal services or whatever that I corresponded with in order to get that voucher. They simply did not reply. They didn't answer the email. They didn't. They told me that oh yeah, it's like it's simple, blah blah blah, whatever, and it was not simple at all. And we were there for one night, and I ultimately chose. I was like, no, I cannot leave my car running all night. To keep the dogs in the car while we stay in this shelter. They also, like many, they proclaimed to have, hot meals and whatever. We did this particular shelter. This shelter did have nice home cooked meals. My daughter was able to enjoy a nice home cooked meal. It was like chicken fried steak and rice or something, and it was homemade. And then later on that night, like there was like a sign up list you could get on, and you could go enjoy like dessert or whatever. So we signed up, got on the list, and we were able to take away, excuse me, like homemade brownies and cookies and stuff. And my daughter was like, I want one of every one. And I was like, babe, just take one. And she's like, but I want more than that. And the sweet lady behind the counter, she's like, she can have another one. She can have another one. Do you want one? I was like, no, I'm okay. She can have them. But they were home cooked. You could tell that woman, she loved her job, and she was very sweet. And I was sure to tell her, thank you so much. Just thank you. Anyways, like I said, we were there for one day, and they said that they could provide all kinds of toiletries or whatever. When I did give them a list of what we needed, they were able to give me a bottle of lotion. Like I needed toilet paper and toothpaste or whatever. And they were like, well, we're out of all that, which is understandable. I'm not complaining about that by any means. I'm just saying, like, they boast a lot. They boast a lot that they can provide. I feel like it's because they get some kind of tax credit or subsidy or grant. That's the word I was looking for. They get a grant for what they do, There was this other place that we went to. It was supposed to be like a food bank / shelter. I went there. I asked them if they could provide us with some food. We were on the road. We had not yet found any location to settle down or whatever. And they said that they had hot meals, like plates. And when we got there, they gave a brown paper bag sack lunch with a soft taco size tortilla with peanut butter in it. And like some goldfish or something. And I was like, okay, thank you so much. And I gave it to my daughter, and they gave us two. And I was like, okay, thank you. I will give this to her. So when does the adult food become available? And they're like, what do you mean? That is it. That is the adult food. That is the epitome of what we can provide. And I'm like, I understand. I misunderstood because it said online hot meal, like a plate, like you're going to go stand in a food line and get a hot meal. But it was a tortilla with peanut butter and some goldfish or a bag of gummies. No, and that's why I thought it was the kids' meal.
It wasn't goldfish. It was like...
That's why I thought it was the kids' meal. This manager also, though, did come out because she recognized that I was new. I was not a frequenter because we were new to the area. She came out and she said, what are you looking for? Because I signed up for housing. And she said, what are you looking for? She said, I don't have anything available right now. But I might have something coming available in the next couple days. And I told her our situation, I said, yeah, it's me and my daughter. And I have 2 dogs. And I'm trying to find shelter for them as well. I'm trying to find pet-friendly shelter because I don't want to get rid of them. They're our family. And she was like, well, we have these excellent amenities, like they're essentially apartments. They're very nice compared to what you would normally see for a shelter. However, then she also started listing off the rules to me and how this all works. She said, we can't accept your dogs. You will have to find something to do with them or whatever. But she said, but we will accept you and your daughter into the shelter. Our rules and regulations are that you once you sign yourself in, essentially, once you sign up for this housing, you are to be within their gates for 30 days. In which those 30 days they will monitor you and make sure that you're abiding to anything that you agreed with, like obviously no alcohol, no drug use, no, the same shit that goes with any shelter. Like any shelter is not going to accept you if you are on drugs or alcohol. They're not. And that is completely understandable. I get that. But they were like, no, you will not leave the grounds. You will not exit the fence around the place for 30 days. You will not be allowed to go anywhere until we've concluded our not investigation, but what is the word I'm looking for? Inquiry, I guess, on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're going to make sure you're up to par and also the regular things like background checks and whatever. Also, at which point, once they do that, your child will be assigned to a local school and they will be picked up by a bus and taken to school and dropped off in front of the premises after school. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And they boasted that the children that are being picked up from the shelter, they also ride with children who are not homeless, who actually have residences. They are picked up together, but my child would be picked up first in the morning and she would be dropped off last in the evening so that the other children on the bus route would not recognize that she lived at a homeless shelter. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's good. That's good. Obviously the part that I had a problem with was that I was going to be caged like an animal for 30 days until I proved that I was not a criminal. Which I'm not saying that that's not unjustified, especially with what kind of people they might come in contact with. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was like, okay, it's reasonable as well as unreasonable. Anyways, obviously we didn't do that because I couldn't get rid of my dogs, my girls. Okay. 3 girls total. my daughter, obviously, and then my 2 dogs. They're also female, so it's a bunch of bitches up in here. But anyways, so some people may hate me for this, but I decided that living in the car and having some sort of freedom, though limited, because it's really hard to have freedom when you don't have any kind of funds whatsoever, but I decided that was more free than trying to live in this shelter situation, and get some kind of benefit that honestly was on a wait list for like at least a year. Again, I called, I signed up, I got on wait list. I exhausted every recommendation that I got, especially because when I was in the hospital with blood clots in my lungs, we were there for a week or a week and a half, and that sweet doctor, he would not discharge me. He refused to discharge me until I had proof that we had somewhere to go. And as long as we were there, we had beds. I had a bed. My daughter, they had like a little seat on the side that actually had a fold out, like
a fold out bed.
Yeah, it's not a fold out bed. It's called a chaise lounge, really. It pulled out, and they gave her sheets and blankets and pillows, and it was a bed for her. I had my bed, she had her bed, and we got 3 square meals a day. And the people that were at the hospital, they saw that she was there with me all the time. And when they would bring one meal, they started asking, do you want two meals? What would she like? And they would bring two meals. So yeah, and then the doctor wouldn't discharge me. He was like, you're not going anywhere until you tell me you have somewhere to go. Because when we first got there, for 24 hours, I was in the hospital and I was getting, IV treatment and a lot of medicine stuff. And they were trying to figure out what was going on with me. And they were doing a lot of tests. And my dogs were downstairs in the parking lot, and the car was running for 24 hours. Like, I would go down and check on them, but I had nowhere to take them. And I let them know when I got admitted. I said, my dogs are in the car, but they are safe. The car is on and the air is on, and I just need you to know that if something happens, that's why they're in the car. I have nowhere to take them. And they were like, okay, that's fine. After 2 days, they were like, you're going to be here for a minute. So we need you to call animal control, or we need to call animal control. So we did that. I talked to animal control personally after the hospital called them. And, I let them know the situation. I said I should be out in a couple of days. Please take them, and I will pick them up. Please do not adopt them out. And they were like, okay, we won't. It's cool. Just let us know when you're being discharged, which I thought, a couple of days. But then, like I said, the doctor was not having it. So it ended up being like a week. And then ultimately I got them. I went finally to go get them when I was finally discharged, because that one place that we stayed at for one night said that they would take us. So I told the doctor that, and he was like, okay, now I'll discharge you, even though I think it had been like 3 days. Like, they had already determined they could discharge me, but he was not gonna do it until he knew that we had somewhere to go, because he knew that we were homeless. He knew the situation. We left from Florida, and it's me and my young child and these two dogs. So it was just me on my own. No family, no help, no nothing. Anyways, then I went to go get my girls from the animal control or whatever. And that was hard. That was hard because when I got there, they assured me that they'd be well taken care of, and I told them that they had issues with eating food. Like, I had to separate them when feeding them, because my older one, she very much guarded her food, and she would get aggressive. So I had to separate them, and I let them know that initially, and they were like, yeah, we'll keep them together because they are very bonded, but we will separate them when feeding them. And I was like, okay. And they were like, they'll be fine, it's okay. And then we went to go pick them up, and they took us like through the back door, and they were like, it was pure chaos, which obviously it's an animal shelter, it's gonna be, but it was pure chaos. And they were in a kennel together, but the older one, who I had adopted, who at 8 years old, who was like now 11, you know, she was like used to this, but she was still like strung out. Like she was freaking out or whatever. The younger one, my puppy, she was just in complete distress. Like she didn't know what was happening. And it was so loud. It was crazy. Like my daughter and I went in there and she tried to talk to me and I was like, I can't hear you. I can't hear anything because this is complete chaos. And they were like, okay, we're going to open the crate, not crate, but the kennel. And, you know, Cinnamon was just like the older one. She was just like, I'm happy to see you. And, our puppy was just like, she was so freaked out and fearful. Like, what is this? You know, like, I don't know. Why have you put me in jail? I don't know jail. I don't like it. I'm not a criminal. But anyways, again, I'm trailing off. And crap. Sorry. My nose is running because I have allergies. No matter where I go. Or what time of year it is. No matter. But also because I don't take Allegra or whatever. I was prescribed Claritin back in the days where you had to be prescribed it. And it made me wired and paranoid as hell. So I was like, no, I don't like that. I was like 12. I was like, no, I don't like that. Now you can get it over the counter, but I still, I wouldn't do that. I don't like it. Anyways, again, I trailed off, and I'm gonna try really diligently to make this video a lot less lengthy than the last one, because I know you guys are like, oh my god, I can't listen to this girl go on for forever. But it's about appreciating the blessings that you have, even when it seems like everything is falling apart. You know, like everything, like you've hit rock bottom. And I really did. Like, my life has been tumultuous, to say the least. But I've always stood 10 toes down, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've always had a stable foundation or a ground to stand on, because I would not allow myself to just let that shit crumble away. It's not in me. So when it did, that was a lot. That was a lot, especially when you have someone dependent on you. You know, like back in the day, I'd be like, whatever, even though I always felt like I had someone dependent on me. That's honestly, when I was younger, when I was a teenager, there were times where I was definitely feeling suicidal. And honestly, what stopped me was that my younger brother was dependent on me, because we had absentee parents. And I was like, well, what's he gonna do if I'm not around? And that's honestly what stopped me. Anyways, so to provide a frame of what I want to share, I guess. Anyways, we left in September. Okay.
My birth month.
Rather, arrived in September. Arrived in our new home state. We arrived on September 1st.
7 days.
The first few nights we slept at a rest area, and I quickly learned that you have to vacate staying in a rest area after 24 hours, right? So we stayed for 24 hours. It was really weird. There were some really weird things that went on at that rest area. It was actually my first, my initial impression of the state. I was like, what the fuck is going on? But that's another episode. Anyways, another video. I keep calling them episodes, which is really goofy. But anyways, September 1st. We slowly started from the outer skirts of our destination, right? So like I had some kind of plan in mind, but not a lot. It literally was just like, I'm gonna get the hell out of here and see how it goes. Like, I may be able to find my way in this place or another. So we arrived. I tried to reach out to some estranged family, or, not even estranged, but family that I had not seen, since I was 10 years old, 12 years old. I don't even remember. I remember that my mom put my brother and I on a plane to go fly to see my aunt and my uncle, and we spent a week or 2 weeks with them, and it was a really good week or 2 weeks. It was cool. So I was like, okay, my aunt, unfortunately, she's passed away. But I also, I reached out to my uncle because I am friends on Facebook with my cousins, and I got his number through that somehow or whatever. I reached out to him, and he had his own things going on, which is understandable. It's fine. Like, I get it. And I didn't have any expectations. I just thought, hey, it's worth a shot. And I told my daughter too that, hey, maybe you will get to meet some of your family, because I do have family there, I have cousins, and my cousins have babies now, and, they have children that you can meet, and you'll get to meet your family or whatever. Unfortunately, it didn't work out like that, which is fine, because I always, whatever, I always land on my feet, and I'll make my way no matter where I go. I've done it all my life, for the haters and the family who can't understand when they do try to bring me down, why I keep getting back up, and why I can't seem to be kept down. They actually kind of helped me with that. They enforced that in me from a very young age, when I had to fend for myself and feed myself and take care of myself because no one was there. And now they're wondering, why does she always land on her feet? No matter what happens, no matter what has been stripped away, no matter what we do to destroy her, she still gets back up. It's because you taught me how to be self-sufficient from a very young age. So why now are you surprised that I'm fucking self-sufficient? You taught me. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. I won't ever need you. You taught me that too. What is there in needing someone? Anyways, I'm thankful for the obscure people that have found me along the way. I don't even think I found them. I think they found me. But they were earth angels, guides, guardians, or we were just like souls, like spirits. You know what I'm saying? So, upon entering the state on September 1st, by September 21st, I wrote in my journal, we got towed yesterday because the serpentine belt broke on the car. I just had a mechanic come out and look at it after thinking that it was just from dry rot and being 10 years old. Well, he said it's not. He said the water pump froze up, and that's what made the belt snap. A much bigger problem than just changing the belt. I tried to get a loan after I was denied for a Firestone credit card, and apparently was approved for $400, but it's still being processed. The belt was going to be $208. We haven't eaten all day. The dogs almost killed each other over mayonnaise. This has been one hell of a day. I wish that the double, triple blessings would come in now. Not later. I just want a good meal. I want my daughter to be full, in caps, full of food and life and happiness and abundance, in caps. The end. So on 9/22, I said, I guess I felt inclined to write 7 for the last couple days because I dated at 7/22, which is weird. That was July and we were in September, but I said, I've been warned. It goes much deeper than I could ever imagine what happened with my ex, or than my intuition will tell me. There are many, many layers. I fear that whatever he is going to tell me will knock me out of love forever. And I also fear that what he will tell me will just be the same bullshit. That there's nothing to tell and that it was all my fault. I know that's not the truth, but like I said before, he'll take it to his grave. I hope I'm wrong about that part, but the damage is done. So why should he waste his time with the truth? He already told everyone that I'm a horrible person. How is he going to take that back? Cinnamon is doing better today. She actually ate a little bit and got out of the car to go to the bathroom. Thank you, Spirit. I still don't understand why it had to happen, but I'm eternally grateful that both our dogs are alive and they're going to recover. I cannot wait to get this car fixed. I just asked how much it's going to cost to fix it, and they told me like $688. That will leave a whopping $90 for the whole month. I applied for TANF, or emergency funding, again today. Now that the unemployment has been exhausted, that will help. We are going to make it, even if I'm searching for our next meal one day at a time.
Mom.
So what happened after that? I don't have it written down
I remember.
because it was kind of a whirlwind. Stop interrupting. So that was 9/22. What happened with the dogs when I say they almost killed each other over mayonnaise was my daughter and I went to go in the store and grab some groceries, like a loaf of bread and some tuna salad or whatever. Very quick. We left the dogs in the car running with the AC, obviously, because already for 22 days, we'd been doing that. We've been living in this fucking car, and whatever we had to do during the day, whatever paperwork I was filling out, whatever hospitalization I was going through, whatever I was trying to apply for, any kind of assistance I was trying to achieve for us to get us out of the car, it was all in limbo. We were running the car because it was still hot in September. It was still hot. It's tropical weather, just like Florida. I was running a quarter tank of gas out of my car every single night while we slept in the car. Okay? We went in the store. We came back. And the dogs were fighting. They were seat belted. in the back seat. They were fighting. When I got to the car door, I opened it, and one of my dogs fell out of the car. She was panting. She was exhausted, out of breath. She was covered in blood. And my other dog was also covered in blood. And my entire back seat of my vehicle was covered in blood. There was blood everywhere. And I screamed. I was like, "Oh my God, what happened?" And I was crying and screaming, like I just could not process this war scene. And the puppy was the one that fell out of the car, still attached to her leash. And I unbuckled her. And Cinnamon was on the other side, and Cinnamon she had bite marks all over her. Like I said, there was blood everywhere. It was insane. It was like a massacre that did not achieve the ultimate end. And it was because Cinnamon guarded her food, and the puppy found a freaking squeeze bottle of mayonnaise that I had in a like thermal cooler, like that you could, stick your beer in or whatever. It's just like small, like a lunchbox size. She found this mayonnaise and she's like chewing on it because we were in the store. She's a puppy. She chews on shit. She found it and she's chewing on it. And Cinnamon was like, "Oh, you got food. I'm going to take it from you." And they got into a fucking physical fight. And they were going to fight to the death over it if I had not stopped them. It was horrible. It was awful. Anyways, so that's what I'm referring to. When I'm like, okay, Cinnamon is doing better today. She actually ate a little bit and she got out to go to the bathroom. I said, "Thank you, Spirit. I still don't understand why it had to happen, but I'm eternally grateful that they both are alive and they're going to recover. I cannot wait to get this car fixed." I just asked how much it's going to cost. I already read that. Yeah, $688. Okay. So I looked into all these other mechanics. I was like noting, like, look up other mechanics who can fix the car for cheaper. Maybe get roadside assistance again, something closer to shelter and food. It's Monday now, so we don't have to commit to Firestone just because they're open on weekends. I get paid on a Wednesday. So this happened, like, we got the car towed on 9/21. Okay, I don't know what day that was exactly, but we got the car towed to Firestone because it was open on the weekend. Everything else I looked up, like within the area that we could get the car towed from under my roadside assistance, was closed for the weekend. So we got towed to the Firestone. They told me it was going to be a lot of money. I didn't have any money. So we sat there. We sat there in their overflow parking lot for 7 days. And this is coming from, you know, the rest area to then truck stops. I learned from my previous time living over the road, you know, I talked about it in another video, if you have no idea what I'm talking about. Truck stops, you can get a shower there. You can get food. You can park for more than 24 hours if need be, whatever. We were spending time in truck stops and rest areas and kind of rotating. So then this happened with the belt. It was actually because, okay, what did I say? My water pump froze up or whatever I said. So let me the ability of where did I put it? Anyways, yeah, that's why it ended up being so expensive. Is I don't have a great understanding of cars. I've worked on cars before with the help of another person and a beautiful guide, whatever, almanac, whatever. Crap, just want to the water pump froze up and that's what made the belt snap. Okay, my anal retentiveness, I had to find that. So yeah, ultimately I think the water pump froze up and the belt snap. It was an old ass tattered belt. It's 10 years old. It looked like total crap. It looked like a mauled piece of saddle stripping that, would be on a horse or something. I don't know. Anyways, it was from water. It was the water pump freezing up was from running the car all night long with the air conditioning on so that we would not sweat to death while trying to sleep in the car. Again, that was 20-ish days, okay? From September 1st till when this happened. We sat there until the 27th. Luckily there was a convenience store across the street. So I would, my daughter and I would walk across the street and we go grab drinks, grab noodles, ramen noodles, whatever, and make them in their microwave at the convenience store or whatever and eat that way. And we sat in their parking lot until I knew I was going to get paid on the 1st. I was going to get paid and I was going to get this taken care of. But it was the 21st. So I was like, oh my God, I still have freaking 10 days. Well, we sat there for 7 days, and after we already got the diagnosis or whatever, they knew what needed to be done, and they saw us. They saw us sitting there. And these two very sweet, amazing brothers came out to the car on the 27th of September, and they introduced themselves. The younger brother was Taj, and older brother Ty. And Taj said, "This is my older brother Ty," and I told them, his brother and his dad, what was going on. Like, they saw us sitting there in the parking lot, and I explained to them, I was just waiting on that paycheck for the first. And he said, well, my older brother called my dad called his church, and he got the money from his church to help you. And we have the belt in stock, and I've already ordered it, and the water pump, and we're just gonna have you pull your car in, and we're gonna do this for you free of charge. And I was like, are you serious? And he was like, yeah, we've seen you sitting here, with your daughter and your dogs, and you're just patiently, waiting to get that money in so you can take the next step forward. So they did that. They paid the $700 to replace the belt and the water pump. While we're getting the service done, they told my daughter they were gonna surprise me with something, and they asked her what food we like or whatever, and they went to 2 different places, because I'm a vegetarian and my daughter's not, to get me vegetarian food and get her a burger or whatever. And then they surprised me with bags of food, McDonald's and Burger King or Dairy Queen, whatever. It was probably a mixture of all 3. I know that she got her ice cream, which she always requires for every meal. And I got a fish sandwich, because I'm a pescatarian. Anyways, I kind of had given up on the system, and I'd been told a lot, like, oh, there is help out there, you can get help. Yeah, I experienced what help you can get, which it didn't help that it was nearing the end of the year, right? It was September, October. They're all out of their funding. They get their funding at the beginning of the year. And then there are a lot of people in need. So I'm not saying that it's not a possibility. I will say that a lot of it is exaggerated. Like I said, boasting a full hot meal online and you get a tortilla with peanut butter in it, that's so that they get their freaking government grant. And it's bullshit. It's a lie. Unfortunately. The people that helped us were regular, everyday, good Samaritans, but also angels in regular clothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we got our car fixed. They sent us on our way. Taj and Ty and their dad. Unfortunately, I don't remember his name. He reached out to me. They asked if they could share his number. They asked if they could share his number with me or share my number with him. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And he sent me a text and he said, you know, this, that, and the other, this is what we do, or this is what we did. And what is your Cash App? I would love to send you $50. And not only did they pay for the repairs of our car so we could get on our way, find our way, you know, back to the food banks we'd been frequenting and whatnot. He sent me $50. He said, you know, you just get whatever you want with this. Like, don't feel obligated for it to be responsible or whatever. He's like, just spend this money. Like, I don't even know. I don't even know how to explain it. Anyways, eternally grateful for those guys. And then moving on, we didn't stay around there incredibly long. Just because I was trying to figure it out. I was trying to figure out what to do next, where to go next. And it didn't get easier after that, unfortunately. You know, I mean, it did. Like, I was back on the road, so to speak. I was able to get around, and like I said, what we were doing is we were I was trying to find programs that could help us, and we were frequenting food banks. That was the way that we were eating. Like, I did apply for food stamps, and I think initially we were allowed $13. And then eventually, as that would come through for the next month, it was like $300, right? Like I said before, I applied for TANF, or tax, I don't even know what it stands for, something relief. It's not tax relief. It's like emergency funding or whatever. I've applied for it 3 times and not got it, even though we're homeless, you know? Even though I'm working, like, I was able to prove that I am working, but not making too much money for it. But even before I was actually working, I was still incurring unemployment or whatever. There were some reasons why we couldn't get it. I've been denied for it 3 times. Anyways, so September 29th, I wrote crazy day. Yesterday we literally starved, all of us. My daughter had 2 peanut butter and jellies, because that's what I had in the car. I had a loaf of bread and peanut butter and jelly. So she had 2 peanut butter and jellies in one sitting, and then the food did not come. So, okay, this is the snap. The money didn't come. I reached out to my best friend and asked her if she could throw me a few bucks. She told me how bad my timing was and that she could help me tomorrow. Well, I was hungry. My daughter was hungry. And the dogs were hungry. I literally listened to all of our stomachs growling. So I asked her again at 6 a.m. She ignored me until 9 a.m. I then got pissed and told her that I loaned her $100 and she had never paid me back for that $100. I'd also ran my car out of gas for the 4th time. So we were sitting there with no air conditioning. I couldn't run the car. I was out of gas. So she finally sent me $30. So I got $10 in gas and I proceeded to drive it all out looking for a food bank that was open. They were all closed. It was Sunday. So I went all the way to Regal, like Regal Cinemas, because at a food bank in Florida, before we left Florida, they gave me 2 gift cards for Regal Cinema, and they equated to $45, the 2 of them. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, Regal has food. Regal can give us, popcorn or nachos or whatever. So I drove all the way downtown to Regal, only to find out that they charge $7.50 for a hot dog. And that was also, I couldn't even park anywhere. I was in the city. I had to pay for parking. So I went in there to see what kind of food I could get for my daughter, and it was $7.50 for one hot dog, and I had $40, and I was like, there's no way. I could sell these to a passerby for more. I could ask a truck driver, hey, do you want some Regal gift cards? And would you give me $5 less than what they're worth? I was just like, no. Anyways, we had already given up. I got Subway because we were starving. It cost me $17.84. I was so mad at myself. I hadn't gotten the girls anything. The girls being the dogs. So we drove back to the truck stop. I fed them the last of the peanut butter, and I got a roast beef slider at the Arby's with my last $2. Then a nice man, James, stopped us on the way out, and I had seen him earlier when I was grabbing my phone off the charger, and he offered us a beef sandwich. We excitedly accepted. I took it back for the girls, and it turned out to be a sub. I saved the slider for my daughter later, and the 3 of them ate this roast beef sub, okay? Then a guy that we spoke to earlier, his name was Larry. He came by and he had a box of sandwiches and cake and muffins, all from like a deli. That was actually after James found us in the parking lot and he offered to buy us a shower. So like I said, we're sitting at a truck stop. We're sleeping in the car overnight at truck stops because people don't mess with you at truck stops for the most part, unless you're there for too long, which I also experienced, unfortunately, 3 days they're running you out. But these guys, they noticed that we're sitting there just all day and all night, mainly because I had no freaking gas to go anywhere until, I'm waiting on my minimal paycheck to come in or whatever. Like, and I've got these dogs in the car and my daughter. How am I supposed to get a job? Like, it's a catch-22. It was horrible. Anyways, so Larry came by. He had cake and muffins. That was after James offered to pay for a shower because he was a truck driver. And for those of you that don't know, when you are a truck driver and you gas up, you get fuel. It's like hundreds of dollars because there are 2 tanks on a semi truck, not just one. There are 2 gas tanks. There's like an initial and a not a reservoir. I can't think of whatever it's called, but anyways, I digress. They pay hundreds of dollars to gas up, so they get free showers. And he was like, "Here you go. Here's my receipt. You and your daughter go get a shower." So, of course, naturally, I turn the car on and leave the car running with the AC running while the dogs are in the car so that we can go and take a 30-minute shower, But it was amazing because at this point, we've gone sometimes a week without a shower, which sucks. It sucked. Like, I already liked showers, obviously, but I didn't realize how much you appreciate it when you have to go a week. One time, even 2 weeks. I don't know. Whatever. James, he bought us showers. So we were all clean and we smelled good. And he said he'd see us again. And Larry, he offered his number. He said, however he could help. He gave us a ride to the prominent food bank being in the, I'm not going to say the city name, but food bank being in the title. He actually gave us a ride there, dogs and everything. We got there. We found out, this is not a food bank at all. It's where you can apply for Medicaid and SNAP benefits. It's not actually a dispensary for food. And I was like, oh, okay. That was stupid as hell. I already applied for Medicaid and SNAP or whatever. I was just looking for, food for the moment. And I'm not saying I'm like I'm not looking for a handout, dude. I just, sometimes people need help. Like, especially people who have never asked for anything in their entire freaking lives. Now they've hit rock bottom and they're down in the dirt and they have a fucking child that is dependent on them to survive. Yeah. And fur babies. Which, yeah, people told me I should have given them up. I should have given them up a long time ago. You got to get rid of those dogs. You got to get rid of the... no. Those dogs are my fucking family, too. I'm not going to give up on them. I made a commitment to them when I adopted them from the pound. And no. Anyways. Larry also gave my daughter an art kit that she could art with. LOL. So the food was after sale date or whatever. So the sandwiches are a little off. So I gave those to the dogs. And we ate the cake and the banana nut muffins and scones. And then James came back, and I told him what happened with the food bank thing that Larry had given us a ride to. And he said, pull up to the gas pump, and he put $15 in my gas tank. After he already paid for us to get showers. He put $15 in my gas tank, and he gave me $10 to buy dog food, because I told him that I fed the dogs the old sandwiches, and that was all I had. I was out of dog food too. So he bought dog food. And he said he would have to explain to his wife why he spent all that money, but he also said he felt like Spirit put us in his path. Okay, this is verbatim. Maybe not the Spirit part, but he felt like we were put in his path and vice versa for a reason. And he said things happen like that to him a lot. They happen to me like that a lot too. People are put in your path for a reason, and vice versa. And despite all this awful stuff, like this is the worst I've ever been through. It's the most down and out I've ever been through. I've never experienced homeless. I've always had my own apartment. I've always had my own vehicle. I've always paid my bills. I've always had food. I have always, like I said in previous posts, my daughter went to good schools. We have always been good. Like, not, fantastic, but good. Stable. I made sure of that. And for the first time ever, I had no control. I had no control over anything, and I lost everything like so quickly that my head was still spinning. It was a domino effect. And I was grasping for straws. I was looking for any kind of assistance, any kind of help. And the system that people had kept telling me, oh, there is help out there. There is help out there. You just got to apply for this. You just got to do this, that, and the other. Bullshit. There's no fucking help out there. There's not. I'm going to tell you that right now. It is a fucking lie. The only people who helped me were good, upstanding citizens who cared enough to take a piece out of their hard-earned paycheck to help this poor single mother in need living out of her freaking car with 2 dogs. Like, that was the only help I got. 10:13. Good morning, world. Up early as usual, but we're sleeping in since we got a room. My daughter's friend called her at 8:30, so she's talking to her, and they're playing Avatar World. We were parked at the Loves for 2 days because I was out of gas and out of money. The Loves being a truck stop. I tried talking to my uncle again, and all he could say was he doesn't have this and that and the other to offer me. I didn't ask him for anything. Then I talked to this guy, Robert, that asked if we were okay. He said he saw that we had been there a couple days. I told him our situation, and I gave him a little backstory. Again, this is 10:13, okay? 9:1 when we arrived. 9:21 The car freaking broke down. 9:27. The car is fixed. By 9:29, I'm out of gas and out of money. Here we are, October 13th. Out of gas, out of money again. Okay? I told this man the reason we've been sitting there for 2 days or whatever, just waiting on my unemployment to come in, like waiting on the day that I can go back to the food bank because they have assigned days. You know, I did the shelter thing very briefly. It was not feasible for us. Whatever. Then also, I don't remember, like, he started telling me about, you know, things that you could do to, like, make money or whatever. Like, delivery jobs, like, which is what I do, right? I did it in Florida. I'm doing it now. I just hadn't yet got to that point. I was still in a haze, figuring it out. Like, how do I do this without even a place to stay, without even being able to shower, you know, on a regular basis? Like, still trying to figure that out. Anyways, I eventually cut it short with him after we talked for a while. We sat on the curb and we just talked. You know, it's like, I saw you guys been here a couple days. You know, what's going on? Are you okay? Well, he went into the store and then he came back and he had 2 gallons of cold water. And he handed me money. And I was like, no, I can't take your money. And he's like, no, please do. And I told him in our talks, I said, you know, the shit that I've been through, it's incredible. It's unbelievable. And I'm going to write a book before it's all over. I'm going to write a book about it. There's a book of me for sure. Well, he came back with 2 gallons of water and he gave me $200. I didn't know that. He just handed me, you know, some folded money. And I said, thank you. I can't take this. And he said, no, you can. He said, please take it. And he walked away. And then I got in the car and I said, Callie, he just gave us money. I'm sorry, my daughter. He just gave us money. And I opened it up and it was $200. I could not believe it. And I said, we got a full tank of gas, we got full bellies, and we got a motel room. I'm down to a couple dollars now, but it's Monday, and I have an appointment at 2:15 to hopefully donate plasma. I don't have mail to prove my address, but I'm going to go by the post office, and I know something will be there. That should get us some more money. Then I'm going to try to go back and do my deliveries that I had done in Florida. I looked into pizza delivery, but it was all full and no open positions. It's coming in. I know it. Things are going to change real soon. Yeah, I didn't do anything for that man to give me $200 except for I told him our situation. I think he evaluated in the time that we spoke that I wasn't some kind of idiot. I wasn't, you know, a drug addict. I was just trying to make my way after a bad situation, after I left a bad situation for a new start. You know what I'm saying? Those people. I just want to give a whole shout out to them. They helped us so much. Now, we went from staying in truck stops every night and going a week without a shower to every night we have a bed to sleep in. We have 2 beds to sleep in, and we work every day, and we go to school, we get our education, we learn new things every day, and we get clean. And we eat. That's all I can ask for right now. Like, of course, I have many more plans ahead. I have goals, and we are slowly but surely achieving them. Slowly but surely. It's one step at a time. It's one day at a time. My mom used to tell me that all the time. One day at a time. And she definitely taught me that. When I was like fending for my life with no fucking support and no adults around to tell me what the hell to do, I learned it. I learned it myself. I learned how to cope on my own. I learned how to make shit happen. I learned how to land on my feet. I also have 9 lives. A few of them have been expended, but I probably have about 5 more. Maybe 4. But
I say 6.
again, I didn't sell anything. I didn't give up anything except for my truth. I didn't ask. You'll never catch me on the side of the road begging for fucking change, dude. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to make that sound insulting or whatever, but it's just not me. I don't know how to ask. I'm like, I'll do it myself. Because maybe the 2 times in my life that I have asked, I was shut down, like, really quickly. I don't ask. I'll do it myself. In closing, because again, this has ran far too long. But I had this beautiful quote. Be forewarned, it's like a paragraph long, but by J.J. Douglas. He's one of my faves that I follow on Facebook. There aren't many, but it says, your absence may change my scenery, but your disrespect would change my identity. And that's too high of a cost for me. Because loss, I can actually recover from. But lowering my standard to make your chaos feel comfortable, that's not recovery. That's self-betrayal. Dressed up as loyalty. See, I can patch the hole someone leaves when they walk away. But how do I patch the cracks in my soul when I let someone stay and keep chipping away at it? There's my cheerleader. Anyways, we're at 1:29:35. Good night, you guys. I love you.